It's been 9 years since Fallout 4 was announced, and nearly 9 years since its release. It came out in 2015 when I was at university. I had no responsibilities. I was eating food similar to the food in Fallout, drinking drinks to the similar in Fallout. Flash forward 9 years later, I'm married with a child, eating freshly cooked meals, and I've got a mortgage. Some things change, but you know what never changes? War. War never changes.
He said it! He said it!
Hey there, Wastelanders. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into Bethesda's post-apocalyptic Fallout 4. How does it hold up in 2024? Nearly 9 years later? Is it still worth your time? Let's jump in and find out. But first, don't forget to like and subscribe. It would really mean a lot being such a small channel. Thank you. Alright, let's kick things off with some history. Fallout 4 was announced in June 2015 and released in November 2015, developed and published by Bethesda Game Studios. The game had some big shoes to fill, following the immense success of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. With a revamped crafting system, base building, a new setting in post-apocalyptic Boston, and a voiced protagonist for the first time, which caused a bit of outrage at the time, Fallout 4 aimed to evolve the series while retaining that classic Fallout charm. The story begins when the bombs fall, giving us a glimpse of life before the Great War. You quickly run to the vault as the bombs are dropping, however, Vault-Tec are a bunch of dickheads. As the sole survivor of Vault 111, you awaken to find the world destroyed, driven by the singular mission, find your kidnapped son. Along the way, you'll uncover secrets about your spouse's death, your son's captor, and get tangled in the intricate politics of the Commonwealth's factions. Back when I played this, when the game first released, the story sometimes didn't really resonate with me in terms of the kidnapped son. However, 9 years later, at the point where I'm at with my life, the story definitely has a bit of more of an impact on me and definitely resonates with me a bit more. So, how do the graphics hold up? For a game released about a decade ago, Fallout 4 still looks pretty solid in certain areas. The vanilla base game sometimes has moments where it looks great, however sometimes it can look its age. The post-apocalyptic Boston is atmospheric and detailed, though it definitely shows its age in certain areas when compared to modern releases. Textures and character models may seem a bit outdated sometimes, but the game's art style and environmental storytelling remain immersive and compelling. Now, what's a good adventure? From the loyal Dogmeat, the feisty reporter Piper, to the ever always helpful Preston Garvey, who always has an arse settlement that needs your help. Absolute dickhead. Companions in Fallout 4 aren't just sidekicks. They're characters with backstories and personal quests that add depth to your adventure. My favourite memory of Dogmeat isn't anything to do with his backstory or anything like that. However, when I was in a building, there was some mines everywhere, and Dogmeat basically just ran 100 miles an hour at the mines, set off every single mine, blew us both up, and we both died. So thanks, Dogmeat. Thank you for that. One of the true joys of Fallout 4 is the sheer variety and depth of its quests. Whether it's a major missions related to the main storyline or hunting down some synths for the railroad, there's always something interesting to do in the Commonwealth. And let's not forget those weird side quests like, remember the Silver Shroud questline? Crazy. Since going back to playing Fallout 4, I don't think I really appreciated how absolutely huge the game is. The game is absolutely filled to the brim with content, tons of things to do, tons of places to explore. When I was replaying the game, I really did find myself getting sidetracked. However, with this much content, places to explore, things to do, it just adds to the lore of the game, makes it a very immersive experience, makes it much more an enjoyable trip down memory lane. When it comes to gameplay, Fallout 4 brings some notable improvements over its predecessors. The gameplay is slightly tighter, however since playing this recently, it sometimes does feel like you are fighting the game when it comes to the combat. It can be extremely slow and frustrating, I found. However, I'm going to give the game a bit of leeway with this, because the game's nearly 9 years old, and it might be, my opinion, maybe due to obviously modern games, the gunplay is obviously tighter, everything runs a bit better, and obviously Fallout games really aren't known for their amazing combat, so the game is going to get a bit of a pass for me on this. However, when I was playing it, it really was sometimes very frustrating. Also, the addition of an expanded crafting system, and also the addition of a settlement building system which offers endless hours of customization, with mods obviously helping expanding it further. However, in 2024, it might not feel as revolutionary as it did back in 2015. This is probably due to the amount of survival games that involve base building out at the moment. The amount of survival games at the moment is just absolutely crazy. I swear every week there's a new survival game or there's a new sort of cozy gamer game, which I do love, but however, the market seems to be really inundated with survival and cozy gamer games, I'd say. Mechanics like the dialogue system, when they first debuted, it received mixed reviews just due to the fact that when the dialogue options popped up on screen, they gave you sort of a brief synopsis of what the character was going to say. However, when you picked that option, when the character actually read it out, it was slightly sometimes different from what was on screen, and gamers felt it wasn't as good as previous Fallout games. In my opinion, for the first time doing a voice protagonist, it does pretty well. The voice character I think does a stellar job, both the female version and the male version. Majority of the time I obviously pick the male version, trying to roleplay as myself, but in my opinion it holds up and it does a pretty good job, so give it a break. Another major factor contributing towards Fallout's resurgence is the incredible modding community. With new interest in the franchise due to the TV show, modders are creating fresh new content from graphical overhauls to new quests and characters. For example, one of the graphical overhauls I like to use sometimes is the one that makes the wasteland green, so it kind of gives me sort of Last of Us vibes. It makes it a lot more easier on the eyes in terms of how the game looks, because the game, let's be honest, is fucking grey. Grey, some red, grey, yeah, more grey. So when you add some of the greenery, it really makes a big difference. It makes it feel a bit more lived in. But obviously I understand it is a nuclear wasteland, so it doesn't really make sense to have that much greenery in it. Also, I can't not mention the recently released Fallout London mod. Fallout London is a 2024 total conversion mod developed by Team Full On, sorry if I butchered that, for the 2015 Fallout game. The mod is set in a post-apocalyptic version of London, and it's notable for its departure from the city's typical United States setting. When it launched, it received pretty good reviews. They praised the sort of scope and detail of the Fallout London for a free project, praising its use of British location, themes and cultural references in the Fallout setting, which is a bit different from obviously being always set in the United States. Although it did get a bit of slack for performance issues and bugs. However, it's a free mod, give them a break. They're doing this in their free time, and they're releasing it for free, out of the goodness of their hearts. I imagine they probably can't charge for this sort of content, but it's free. Who cares if it's got bugs? Fallout 4 got an update in 2024, which is kind of mad when you think about it, but there is a reason behind this, and I'll get into that in a bit later. The update was generally aimed at the PS5 and Xbox versions, just to make the game run a bit more smoother. The frame rate was a bit of an issue on the old consoles, just to make it run at a higher frame rate and just an overall better experience for console users. However, jumping back to Fallout London for a second, this update set the mod back. This was due to Bethesda not letting the team know that they were doing this update, or not giving them an early peek at the code, which resulted in a little bit of bad press, which in my opinion could have been easily avoided if Bethesda just communicated with the mod release team. Also, it's now impossible to mention Fallout without mentioning the Fallout TV show, which was made by Amazon. Who would have thought that a TV adaptation could breathe new life into an almost decade-old game? Since the Fallout TV show made its anticipated debut, we've seen a notable spike in Fallout's popularity. When the TV show released, I was quite hesitant to watch it, just because looking at the early promotion posters, it looked quite shit, to be honest. However, once I watched the first episode, all those nerves were kind of thrown out the window. It was pleasantly good, even great at sometimes. I enjoyed it, my wife enjoyed it, and she doesn't even like the Fallout games. And I cannot honestly wait for Season 2. So, Fallout 4 in 2024, how is it? I honestly enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. The graphics, as I mentioned earlier, can be very hit or miss, but this could probably definitely be solved by some mods to improve the overall graphics. Gunplay was a big issue for me, as I've mentioned, but the VAT system does help this. This game is rich and it's filled to the brim with things to do and things to see. And if you like Fallout, or you love Fallout, chances are you're probably going to love this. The one thing that I have an issue with Fallout 4 is 9 years later is my life's changed. I don't have as much free time as I used to have anymore. So games like this that have so much content, so many quests, so much things to do, things like the base building that are obviously take so much of your time up, I just do not have time for this sort of thing anymore, unfortunately. And games that are sort of a very linear path, maybe a story game that's like 8-9 hours long, is sort of perfect for me at the moment where I am in at life. So unfortunately, these are the sort of games I just unfortunately do not have time for at the moment. So what's next in the franchise? Not much by the looks of it. Unfortunately, with Bethesda making obviously Elder Scrolls 6, there's been absolutely no announcement at all, unfortunately, for the new Fallout. However, there's always Fallout 76. It did have a bit of a rough launch, but it's had a lot of updates since when it was first launched, so it might be worth jumping in. It might be a game that I might cover later on at some point, so if you do feel like you want me to cover that, please just drop a comment and let me know. If you've managed to watch the end of this video, I really appreciate that. I've obviously spent probably about 4 or 5 days making this video, from writing the script to editing the clips, capturing the clips from my PS5, which is an absolute pain in the arse. However, I've just recently got a capture card, so hopefully it's a lot less tedious and I can churn videos not churn videos out a lot easier, but just make videos a lot easier. So going forward, it's going to be a lot more easier process. So if you've watched to the end, I really do appreciate that. If you enjoy it, like, subscribe, feel free to leave a comment if any feedback, if you loved it, if you hated it, just let me know. Honestly, don't care, as long as you're participating in the video. I really do appreciate that. Stereo Students out.